Let's go to the New Zealand Prime Minister now.
A nation that had experienced so much loss and pain in recent times, 9 December 2019 was devastating. In a community like Whakatane, nearly everyone would know someone involved either on the island or involved in the emergency response. That made it so deeply personal. From the first responders and hospital staff who I met the next day, to those on the water and in the air who flew directly into danger with little regard for their own safety to rescue the injured on the island, thank you. What you did was courageous, and nothing, now or in the future, will ever change that. Today we remember those who passed away, those who were injured, their whānau and everyone affected by this tragic event. And we do take the time to thank all those involved in the response and recovery operations. Alongside first responders, there was the work of those in central and local government. I acknowledge you, Mayor, Whakatane District Council, Ngāti Awa, private businesses, volcano scientists who work with police and the Defence Force to support the recovery. This was an extraordinarily challenging event, and I know it affected everyone personally and deeply. I also want to acknowledge the health professionals right across the country who worked tirelessly to provide expert support to those injured. I met many of you in the weeks after the eruption. You gave your all to support the recovery of those affected. The impacts of this eruption were felt here on our shores, with the loss of Tipene, Mangi, and Hayden Marshall Inman. But it was also felt acutely abroad too. Most of those on the island that day were visitors from Australia, the United States, Germany, the United Kingdom, China, and Malaysia. A sign of the connection in particular with Australia is that in February of this year, with the blessing of Ngāti Awa, we presented the Governor-General of Australia with pieces of whakaare, an acknowledgement of the fact that our Australian whānau lost their loved ones on our shores too. I want to send a message of araha and support to the survivors overseas, their families and those who lost their loved ones, as well as those who are here with us in the room today. We share in your sorrow, and Aotearoa will always be connected to you. And that connection has been supported so strongly by Ngāti Awa. Ngā mihi nui kia koutou. You opened your marae, provided food and shelter for extended families and whānau and a number of other visitors. Many families commented on how important and special that was to them. In fact, I'd like to conclude my brief remarks with not my words, but the words of a family member of those lost, who wrote to me with the following. Just under 4 weeks ago, I lost my beautiful family in the White Island volcano disaster. It has taken me this long to be able to even begin to process the events of that day and the days after. Such has been my grief and that of my entire family. And it's taken me this long to even understand the unbelievable efforts of the many, many people and services that risked their lives to bring the bodies of my family home and to allow the injured family to get to hospital for care, where they were able to pass away in peace. My family has visited your beautiful country many times, and if something as devastating as this was going to happen, I'm so grateful it had to happen in New Zealand, where I know their souls will always rest in peace and natural beauty and love. And so I conclude by reflecting, as I did 1 year ago in Parliament, on the place where this tragedy occurred. Just sitting off Whakaare is a place called Te Paipai o Aotea. It's a collection of toka that jut out of Te Moana Nui Atoi. For some of the Matatua tribes, it is where those who have passed on begin their journey into the afterlife. I say to those who have lost and grieve, you are forever linked to this place and our nation, and we will continue to hold you close. Haere, haere, haere atu rā.